not just any kids, not just Jewish kids, brilliant Talmidei Chachamim. So here's the question. Why are we rewarding the Sota? What was so great about her? Did she listen to her husband? No. Did she develop a relationship with somebody? She did. Did she go into seclusion against her husband's wishes? She did. Why should she deserve any reward? She's not this big tzaddikus. What? Why is she all of a sudden a big tzaddikus?
She suffered public humiliation.
Wait a minute. She suffered public humiliation. However, it wasn't without reason. She went through a pretty stern warning, and she defied societal norms.
Oh, she went into seclusion?
Yes. She doesn't drink. Let's be very, very clear. That's what I'm saying. And make her out to this big, if a guy wakes up in the morning and he's crazy and is accusing his wife of crazy stuff, that's not a sota. That doesn't qualify. He has to formally warn her, which means he knows about it, which means something's going on, which means it must have percolated to some extent. It must have developed that relationship to whatever extent. And then he says, I don't want you to speak to that man anymore. And she hears it and she doesn't listen and she goes into seclusion with that man. I don't want you to be, and there's witnesses that she went into seclusion. Whoa. There's one thing, there's no witnesses. Or one witness, but two witnesses? Two witnesses. That's, a Torah considers two witnesses the equivalent of emes. Emes is truth. How does the Torah define truth? Two witnesses. That's called truth. Not one, two. In every halacha, I don't care what you're talking about, whether it's mammon or isur, financial stuff or isur v'heter, you may not even need two in isur v'heter. Eid echad nema b'isurim, but kal v'chomer if you have two. So, what's really went on over here? Why is she a heroine? So here's what I want to suggest. Based on the Balaturim, and this will blow your mind. You ready? Go back to the beginning. We had three people. Sarua, Zav, and Tamil Nefesh. Three characters. Where else did we have three characters? Three problematic characters. The Shalosh Mitzurayim. But that was only one category. Says the Balaturim, go back to Gan Eden. What happened to the Nachash? His punishment as he became leprous. He's associated. The Nachash is called a leprous skin. Metzora. Motzi Ra, because that's what he does. He's Motzi Ra, his dibur, and creates death by his words. Okay? It's the ultimate of corruption of speech and evil. Talking in a way which doesn't elevate people or bring them closer to Hashem, but destroys their connection to Hashem and to one another. And what was his objective? What was he trying to accomplish? He wants Chava for himself. Says the Balaturim, says in Gemara Shabbos, Nachash Hishiani, she said, I'm going to go off with this guy. I like what he says. I like how he talks to me. He's saying good things. He's presenting me a good life, a better life than I have maybe right now. And it's Taiva La'inayim, and he's saying I should eat this fruit, and I'm going to become a great person, and it sounds really great. And she succumbs, and she listens, and she eats from the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra, right? And then she gives her husband to eat. And what happens to him? So what is their punishment? What is Chava's punishment for eating? Zav. Zav is related to that issue of a cycle, a woman's cycle. Can be associated with Zav. And that's the pain of giving birth and bearing children. And finally, Tamei L'Nefesh. What's Tamei L'Nefesh? Death. Who got death as a punishment? Adam got death because he was on a path to immortality. No one says he was immortal at that moment. But had he continued making those choices, his lifetime would have far exceeded 1,000 years, would have been eternal. Over the course of the years allotted to him, he would have developed into an angelic being totally. Man's ultimate form. So it says the Balaturim, we got three problems in Gan Eden. We got to make sure that we get rid of those three problems in order to maintain the Gan Eden, the connection between Hashem and Klal Yisrael, which is embodied in the Shechina. Right? Hashem was in the Gan with Adam and Chava. We want Klal Yisrael to be with Adam and Chava. We got to take care of these three problems. No more Nachash, no more Chava with a mistake, no more Adam with a mistake. What's the sota? What is the sota now? Who is sota comparable to in this story? Yeah. You actually have three people. You actually have three. I'm going to add this to the Baal Turim, okay? This is my chap. These three are paralleled by three actual halachos. One, the thief who takes money for himself, the liar, the meshaker, who uses Hashem's name in vain, uses words in vain. That's the nachash. Okay? The next case is sota. That's keneged chava. And the third case is tamei lameis, which is paralleling Adam Harishon. Truly amazing that this is like a little foreshadowing, and then three actual parshos to reinforce the idea. Adam, Chava, Nachash. We got to deal with it. Now let's look at sota. If sota is compared to Chava, what's the comparison? Well, very easy. She wants to go off with somebody else, just like the Nachash wanted to go off with her. Is she being influenced there a little bit? Absolutely. Is she in a dialogue with this person? Absolutely. But when push came to shove and the moment of emes was reached, she chose for the right decision, which was, I'm not going to have an aveira with this person. She stood up to the test of the Nachash in her life, which was taking her down a path of, going off with somebody else. And she said, no. I'm going to be loyal to my husband. I'm going to be loyal to my values. I'm not going to defile myself that way. So guess what? She is, if we replay it all the way back, equivalent to Chava saying no to the Nachash. I know you're talking to me all these nice things. I know you're trying to sway me. And you're very persuasive. And you're very seductive. But guess what? No way. I'm morally clear. I'm not eating from that apple. Hence, she doesn't eat from the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra. What does she deserve? The other tree. What's the other tree? Eitz HaChaim. What kind of children does she get? Talmidei Chachamim. Why? Because she held on to the Eitz HaChaim. A remarkable shot. So what is the message here? The message here is Hashem says, I know who you are. I know your problem. You can't not have these parshios here within the process of what we're trying to accomplish because you're human beings and you have a Yetzer Hara. Everyone has the internal Nachash and everybody is a Chava and every woman's a Chava and every man is an Adam. But your test is not to succumb. How are we going to help you? We're going to give you Kohanim. We're going to give you Moshe Rabbeinu. We're going to give you Arna Kohen. We're going to give you help. We're going to give you Levium. We're going to help you. And as a team, and as a society, and as Shvatim, we're going to make it. We're going to make it together. And that's why these have to be included here. That's why these parshas must be included here. Okay? Now, so now that they're included, right? So I just want to say one closing comment. Okay, you ready? So far so good. I'm sorry if it took a little while to develop this point. But it's really a remarkable structure that's going on. Hashem says, I want you to stay with me forever, Am Yisrael. I know it's difficult. There's a Zav and there's a Tzeru and a Zav and a Tamei Mason. I know that there's all these, you want to steal, I get it, and you want to be Sota, I get it, and you want to be you want to be like a mace, you just want to follow your body, you don't want any connection to your eternal soul. I know it. We're going to help you. We're going to secure you. And eventually, what's that going to lead to? Birkat Kohanim. Okay, now Birkat Kohanim is the actual transmission of life, of sustenance into the Jewish people. It's the output. If you do all these things, and if you stand up to your Yetzer Hara, and you hold on to the Eitz Chaim, the output will be Birkat Kohanim. Then you're going to get the blessing. And we're going to analyze Birkat Kohanim, but we're not going to be able to do it today, because there's no time. But I'll give you one little hint, which is just to whet your appetite. It starts with the word ko. What's the gematria of ko?
25.
Okay. And so the gematria is 25, right? So the Baal Turim says there are 25 letters in Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Shem HaKen Hashem Echad, 25 letters. Also, bracha. The word bracha, which is Birkat Kohanim, appears how many times in the Torah? 25. Do you know how many times the word shalom appears in the Torah? 25. Okay? But wait a second. If you have bracha 25 and shalom 25, what does that add up to? 50. Okay, now this is my extension of this. The word Kohen starts with the words ko, the letter ko. 25. What does it end with? A nun, 50. What's the job of a Kohen? To bring the bracha that will add to shalom. What's that big nun like? Oh, that's the nachash. We don't want him to be a nachash. We want him to be a vav hachibur. And later he says there's many themes of the sixfold brachos here that he speaks about right away. We don't have time for it now. But in your life, did you ever think that the name Kohen symbolized exactly what his job is? Okay, now. Because that's Hebrew. All right, but it goes a little bit further. We'll just take this another piece. The luchos are divided into two sets of 5. Says the Baal Turim. Why 5? What is importance 5? Because how many camps are there of Klal Yisrael, of the regular Shvatim? How many camps? 4, right? The camp of Yehuda, the camp of Reuven, the camp of Ephraim, and inside is the camp of Levium, plus the Machane Leviah is 5. And the 6th one, of course, is which is the source of the bracha. We'll go through all these stuff maybe next time, is the Machane of the Shechina, which is there. But that's what 5 really is. It's the Levium plus the Shvatim. Why is and now I'm just taking these things and extending it a drop. That's all I'm doing, is to say, maybe that's why the luchos are 5 and 5, because the point of the luchos is the second luchos, the luchos that were not broken. The first luchos were 10.
On one side?
I don't know, but they were never broken. I mean, they were broken, right? So maybe they weren't delivered. They were never delivered. So, but these were broken. And as if to say, the reconstruction is 5 and 5. 5 mitzvos ben adam le chavero. 5 mitzvos ben adam le makom, with the swing mitzvah being kibbud av v'aim, obviously. That's the Machane Levi and Machane Yisrael. And that's the Yad, HaChazaka. And that's why, an incredible thing. Oh gosh, do we have 5 more minutes? Do we just stay for 5 minutes to hear this out? Okay, this is helpful. This idea that the Torah evolved and is now in the hands of Klal Yisrael forever and ever, is what the Karban HaNesiim really is all about. And let me show you how. If you remember, the Nesiim came to reinforce this point, because they're the leaders of the tribes, right? The 4 groups of 4. The 4 groups of 3, excuse me. So it says like this. What was their Karban? Karas kesef echad. One big silver bowl. So let's understand what these things refer to. If you remember what Rashi brings from the Sod of Moshe Hadarshan, right? It says like this. Karas kesef echad, 130 silvers, right? Guess what that refers to? Adam Harishon lived for 130 years and then gave birth to Shes. Who cares about what birthday party this is? It's not a birthday party. Very nice. 130 years, Adam lives and begets Shes. Why did the Nesiim care about that? Next thing. Shivim shekel b'shekel HaKodesh. Next thing is Mizrak echad kesef, a golden bowl, right? A basin. 70. Why? Because 70 years Adam lived. That was the life of Adam, and it represents also the 70 nations.
70 years he gave to.
7 years he gave over. He gave over to David, right? But he also gave birth to, through Noah, the 70 generations, right? The 70 nations. All right? Then it goes on to what comes after that. Okay, and then it comes, well, let me just read it to you properly here. Here, read it from here. Karas Kesef Echad, Zayin, Yud Gimel. It's amazing Rashi. Moshe Darshan. Zayin, Gimel. So, here we go. All right. Okay. Karas Kesef Echad, we know is Adam. Shlosh Yomei Mishkala. According to Rashi, okay, the next thing that we have is Mizrak Echad Kesef, Shivim Shekel, right? What does that mean according to Rashi? This is hard to work with here. Okay, that's a reference already to Noach and his 70 nations, right? That's a reference, we get to Noach already. Then what do we have after that? Kaf Echad Asara Zahav Mleak Torres. Wait a second. That's the Torah. Kaf Echad Zahav. Kaf, by the way. What's Kaf? One hand. Kaf Echad. 5 each, right? Mleak Torres. Torres is the 613 mitzvos. Right? Because that's a reference to Taryag. Taryag. So now, you have Torah and Neser Sedibros. But wait, who comes next? Par Echad is Avram. Ayel Echad, Yitzchak. Keves Echad, Yaacov. Right? Seir Yizim Echad Lechatas. Zevach Shamim Bakar Shnayim, Moshe and Aaron. And that's it. And then, wait a minute. Then we add Elim Chamisha, 5 Elim. Atudim Chamisha. Kfasim Beishana Chamisha. 5, 5, 5. So, wait a second. Says before Shim that that's a reference to the 5 luchos. A reference to the luchos, right? That are 5s. Kohen, Levi, Yisroel. The camp. Like we just said, what's the 5? Levi, 1 camp. Klal Yisrael, 4 camps. And that's what we're talking about here. So we speak about the 5, the luchos, connecting to the 5. Kohen, Levi, Yisrael. 5 each. 1 second, but it's out of order because you referenced Torah and the Aseret Dibros before where? Before Avram comes on board. And now all of a sudden, after Moshe and Aaron, you're talking about what? You're talking about Luchos and Kohen Levi Yisrael. Keep it all together. I'm sorry, Moshe Hadarshan, and I'm sorry, Rashi, but it's not sequential. So the answer I'd like to offer, what this will conclude. What they mean to say is as follows. Because of Avram, Torah, which preceded the world, had a place to reside. So of course we created Adam, but there was no potential there. So we had Shais at 130, so he brought some new potential. And then there was Noach, who had 7 nations, and that had some potential, right? But none of it was Torah worthy. None of it was Torah worthy. It was potential only, but it really wasn't worth till Avram comes along. Once Avram comes along, there's a receptacle for the Torah. So now, okay, Kaf Echad goes to Avram, goes to Yitzchak, goes to Yaakov, goes to Moshe, goes to Aaron, and it's going to be therefore bound to Klal Yisrael forever. But how? In its second iteration, i.e., the second Luchos, which are given into the structured camp of Levi, Kohen Levi Yisrael, which wasn't necessary when the first Luchos were given. You didn't need the Machaneh. You didn't need Kohanim. You could have been happy with Bechors. That's the ideal state. Only after Chet Egel do we have to then worry about these 3 camps, Kohen, Levi, Yisrael, and the 5. So what we're really showing brilliantly is exactly what happened. The Nesiim are saying, listen Hashem, the purpose of the world was Torah. We were Zochet to be from Avram to Yaakov and have Moshe and Aaron. But now we, the Nesiim, the last thing that we're bringing are the 5s. Meaning that we're going to take this camp of Levi, of the Shechina, of the Mishkan, and we're going to make it work. And that was their message. That Torah should have a proper place and the Shechina should have a place in the world. Okay, we'll stop here. Okay.